Disclaimer. Shortly after this is uploaded, there will be a behind-the-scenes look where I go over how I built the scenario and why I made the decisions I did in creating the scenario. Judge the results based off of what is stated to have happened during the 2020 cycle and not your own personal opinion of what you think should happen or what you actually off of the scenario. Yeah, that would be fine, but don't base it off of what you want to happen or base it if the election were held today. If you wish to suggest an election night, be as thorough as possible in designing a scenario and choosing candidates. Okay. Welcome to Election Night 2020. The tickets are Donald Trump and Mike Pence versus Cory Booker and Michael Bennett of Colorado. And, well, things have been doing pretty well. The Dow is at 31,000, the S&P at 3,200, and the NASDAQ at 10,500. In general, the economy is good, and the domestic and foreign environments, politically speaking, are relatively static. This has currently been seen as a relatively decent thing for Trump. His approval rating has increased, and depending on which measures you look, he's in the low to even some numbers in the high 40s, with a few outliers putting his approval rating in the 50s. The likely voter average puts his approval rating at about 46 to 48%, depending on which pollster you look at. The average, of course, being in between there. So, for some maps, this is currently what CBS is projecting as the competitive battleground states, leaning Texas, Iowa, Ohio, North Carolina, and Georgia to Trump, and Minnesota and Colorado to Booker, with a lot of states labeled as true toss-ups and room for Trump to expand his margin from 2016, but also room for Cory Booker to beat Donald Trump by expanding on Clinton's map. This is the CNN projection, which lists New Mexico as only leaning, as well as putting Virginia in the lean Booker column. However, they also say Minnesota is more competitive than previously thought, and Arizona should be in the Trump column, based off of polling. Here's the Fox News projection, which says that which already gives Donald Trump the election by virtue of having Pennsylvania and Florida in the lean Trump column, with Virginia, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Colorado, Nevada, and New Hampshire in the toss-up category. And this is this channel's projection. Based off of polling and the fundamentals, as well as the economic factors, we expect Donald Trump to win re-election, winning in Michigan, Florida, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Minnesota being labeled as a true toss-up that leans towards Cory Booker, Michigan being a true toss-up that leans towards Trump. Anyway, moving on, some national polling nuggets. Fox News has Trump ahead, 51-47. CNN has Trump behind, 49-48. Booker leading that one. Wall Street Journal, NBC polls have Trump ahead, 48-47. ABC has Trump ahead, 47-46. And now we are on to the 7 p.m. poll closings, with 60 electoral votes and two real battlegrounds, Georgia and Virginia. And in the state of Indiana, Donald Trump is the projected winner. Based off of exit polling, we expect him to get about 60% of the vote, and the numbers will be based off of exit polling and known results. So they'll get a little bit more accurate as the evening continues. And in the state of Kentucky, Donald Trump is the projected winner. South Carolina is also going into the Donald Trump column. Georgia, it is too early to call. And in Old Dominion, Trump does lead, same as in Georgia, but it is still way too early to call this race, and this was one of those races that we expected to be competitive. However, Cory Booker is the projected winner in the state of Vermont. And nationally, Donald Trump has 28 electoral votes to Cory Booker's 3, and here's what the map currently looks like. Anything that's shaded pink or light blue is a state that hasn't been called, but we have enough information to determine if a candidate has a lead in that state, no matter how tenuous. And now in 7:30 p.m. poll closings, we have Ohio, West Virginia, North Carolina. And this combines for 38 electoral votes with 2 battleground states, Ohio and North Carolina. And out of West Virginia, Donald Trump is the projected winner. And surprise, surprise, a closing call in the state of Ohio. Based off of exit polling, we can determine that Trump will win by about 12% in the Buckeye state. This is a little bit of a shock, and this probably doesn't bode well for Cory Booker. In the state of North Carolina, however, it is too early to call. Trump does maintain a lead. And we have 2 key race alerts. Cory Booker has taken a lead in Virginia, and he also has taken a lead in Georgia, though both are narrow, and we still think that we still think there are votes left to be counted that could change the outcome of the race. So we are not going to call these races just yet. And nationally, Trump has 51 electoral votes to Cory Booker's 3. Trump does hold a lead in the popular vote, we can now determine. And, of course, you need 270 electoral votes to win. And this is what the map looks like. Already, that electoral map starting to get painted red. And 8 p.m., this is the largest haul of electoral votes when you combine all states, 172 with 4 battlegrounds, Florida, Pennsylvania, Maine, and New Hampshire. In the state of Alabama, Donald Trump is a projected winner, and Cory Booker will take the state of Connecticut. Delaware is too close to call, though Cory Booker does have a lead. Expect votes to come out of this state a little bit more slowly. They currently have an electronic glitch from what we can tell. So we'll keep you posted on that, though. In Florida, Booker does lead, though it's too early to call this race one way or the other. In the state of Illinois, Cory Booker will take that one. Maine is too close, and it's way too early to call this one. We do expect Maine to split its congressional districts for the second election in a row, though the at-large is the race that we are currently focusing on. And sorry about that little graphical error. Cory Booker does take Maryland as well as the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And the state of Mississippi does go to Donald Trump, who also carries the state of Missouri. And New Hampshire is too close to call. In the state of New Jersey, Cory Booker's home state, he will easily carry this state. Donald Trump does carry Oklahoma, one of the most conservative states in the nation. In the state of Pennsylvania, the Keystone State, Cory Booker does lead, though this is expected to narrow as the evening continues. Right now, we've only got Philadelphia precincts reporting, so that is to be expected. Cory Booker does take the ocean state of Rhode Island, however. In the state of Tennessee, Donald Trump will carry its 11 electoral votes, and Cory Booker quite clearly will win the state, not the state, but the District of Columbia. And we do have 3 key race alerts, Virginia, North Carolina, and Georgia. Trump has retaken a lead in Virginia, and he has retaken the lead in Georgia, though Cory Booker has now taken a lead in North Carolina. And nationally, Trump has 94 electoral votes to Booker's 72. Trump leads the popular vote still. And this is currently what the map looks like. And we do expect some things to change. I don't expect Virginia to go Republican or North Carolina to go Democratic. just not the way they voted recently in history. Moving on to 8:30, the 8:30 p.m. poll closing. It's one state, Arkansas, and Donald Trump is the winner of Arkansas. And we do actually have some key race alerts, however. Maine, North Carolina, and Florida. In the statewide, Trump has taken a lead in Maine, though it's still too close to call. It's also too close to call in North Carolina, where Trump has retaken the lead. And in Florida, Donald Trump has taken a lead there. And nationally, Trump has crossed 100 electoral votes. And this is what the map looks like as it stands. Delaware, we haven't heard anything, though Booker is expected to carry the state. It was just too early to call when we first got reports, so we're keeping it there. And in Virginia, I've heard reports that there was reasonably large turnout in Northern Virginia. We'll keep you posted on that, and we expect that to go to Cory Booker at some point in the night. Whether or not we have an update before it's projected for him, we're not sure yet. 9 p.m. and we have 156 electoral votes up for grabs in this slate of states, with 6 of them being considered battlegrounds. And in Arizona, it's too early to call, though Donald Trump does lead. Same thing with Colorado, except it's Booker with the lead. In the state of Kansas, Donald Trump has carried it, as well as the state of Louisiana, the sportsman's paradise. In Michigan, it is too early to call, though Trump does have a lead. It is too early to call Minnesota, where Booker has a lead. State of Nebraska, which splits its electoral vote by congressional district. Donald Trump is the projected winner of 4 out of the 5 electoral votes up for grabs. We are waiting on some more returns from Congressional District 2, where Trump is reportedly ahead of Booker. In the state of New Mexico, it's too close to call. Booker does lead. And this has got to sting Donald Trump, but Cory Booker is projected to carry Donald Trump's home state of New York, though an 11-point margin is not what Democrats wanted to see. This could just be because another New Yorker isn't on the ticket, giving Trump a little bit of a home state boost for once. And it's possible that there was just lower than expected turnout in New York City proper. We'll know later on, and I wouldn't be too surprised if this widens out to 13 or 14% in terms of the gap by the end of the evening. North Dakota, at least in terms of our projection. In the state of North Dakota, Donald Trump's carried that one, as well as the state of South Dakota. In the state of Texas, it's too early to call. Donald Trump does lead. This is consistent with what we've been saying about Texas all campaign. It's becoming a battleground, though we're still unsure of whether or not to classify it as such. In the state of Wisconsin, it's too early to call. Booker does lead. And, of course, Donald Trump takes the most conservative state in the union, Wyoming. And we do have a key race alert in the state of North Carolina. Donald Trump is the projected winner, 50 to 44. Again, expect these numbers to get a bit more accurate as the evening continues. Remember, they're based off of the known vote total as well as the exit polls. Donald Trump is well on his way to being reelected if current trends hold, however. Donald Trump is at 142 electoral votes to Booker's 101. Trump still leads the popular vote. And this is currently what the map looks like. Apparently, Booker did retake a lead in Virginia, and we just never got that key race alert. So, spoiler alert, Booker does lead in Old Dominion, the Commonwealth of Virginia. And the 10 p.m. poll closings, 2 battleground states and 2 relatively safe states. Donald Trump will take Iowa and Montana. Whoa, Iowa. Huh. Another shock closing call based off of exit polls and what we've currently seen of the vote in the state of Iowa. we can project Donald Trump will win it by about 11%. That's a little bit of a shock. And Donald Trump will take the state of Utah. In the state of Nevada, it's too close to call, but Booker does lead in that state. And we do have a lot of key race alerts right now in the state of Florida. Okay, so we're making a call on this one. Donald Trump is a projected winner, 51-46. It's a little bit of shock to me, especially how wide of a margin that is. In the state of New Mexico, Cory Booker is the projected winner. That's not a shock at all. And Cory Booker will win the Commonwealth of Virginia, 49-46. That's relatively close, and that's about where you would expect. It's maybe closer than Democrats would have wanted based off of how they performed there in 2016. In the state of Texas, Donald Trump will carry it by about 10% based off of exit polls and what we currently know of the vote and where it's still outstanding. In the state of Maine, it is too close to call. Booker has retaken a lead there. In the state of New Hampshire, Trump has actually taken a lead in the Granite State, live free or die state. In the state of Michigan, Booker leads now, and Trump has managed to take a lead in Minnesota, as well as Wisconsin. Trump has 225 electoral votes to Booker's 119. Trump does lead the popular vote. You, of course, need 270 electoral votes to win. And here's what the map looks like. And let's go ahead and talk about Cory Booker's remaining path to 270. He needs to sweep the upper Midwest. He needs to sweep Pennsylvania, which is getting much closer from what I've heard. I've heard reports that it's within about 5% now, whereas at the evening it started off heavily in Booker's favor. I've heard reports that we're going to get a lot of votes from Delaware coming soon, and we may be able to project that. He's going to need to sweep Pennsylvania, Maine, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, as well as sweeping and taking Nevada and Colorado. It's really, as well as the states he's already expected to win on the West Coast that haven't had poll closings yet: Washington, Oregon, California, and Hawaii. That's probably the most realistic path. If Booker starts losing states like Maine and New Hampshire, he may need to carry New Hampshire anyway. If he starts losing states like Maine and New Hampshire, he can do that as long as he wins the Rust Belt Upper Midwest. But if he loses, say, Wisconsin, he's going to need to hope to pick off in Arizona. If he loses a Michigan, he's going to need to pick off, he's going to need to pick off Arizona, and I'm not entirely sure what else. Pennsylvania, the race would be over. It may even be over with Michigan. So Booker's real hope is to carry the upper Midwest and states of Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Minnesota. And welcome back. We're ready for the 11 p.m. poll closings. 5 states, no real battlegrounds here. Booker will take California, Hawaii, Oregon, and Washington, all by fairly wide margins. And Trump will win the state of Idaho. And we do have some key race alerts. Oh, good. Delaware. We can call Delaware confidently for Cory Booker. This is about an 8-point victory, so if they hadn't had problems reporting, we probably would have called this earlier in the day. Donald Trump has carried the state of Georgia, and Michigan is too close to call, but Donald Trump has retaken the lead there. They're at about 90% of precincts reporting, and it looks like most of the vote outstanding is in heavily rural areas where Donald Trump should improve his margin. Marquette County has all precincts reporting, and actually Donald Trump is leading in that county, which is the only county in the Upper Peninsula that Trump lost in 2016. Donald Trump does lead the statewide vote in Maine, having retaken it. They're closing in on having just about all of their precincts report. Nationally, Donald Trump is at 245 electoral votes, with 25 needed for him to become president. I don't know why that says Sanders. Cory Booker is the candidate here. I think we're going to fire our graphics designer for letting that one slip. Cory Booker is at 200 electoral votes, however. And this is what the map looks like. I've heard reports that the vote in Pennsylvania is within a single percent, and that Donald Trump could be taking that by the time we hear the next poll closings. That would pretty much be a death blow to the Booker campaign. Though it looks like Donald Trump is not even going to need Pennsylvania if he carries Michigan and Arizona like he's expected to. I think even Alaska, the Cory Booker's kind of on a hope and a prayer. We do have a major announcement before we get to the next set of poll closings. Cory Booker has already called Donald Trump to concede the race, and both candidates are preparing to make their speeches. We'll get you to those as quickly as possible, and stay tuned for when we return to our regular coverage. Thank you for being patient and listening to the concession speech from Cory Booker and the acceptance speech from Donald Trump. We do have only one poll closing now, and that's Alaska, with 3 electoral votes, which, as expected, go to Donald Trump at the close. And we do have some key race alerts, including the popular vote projection. Okay, so Cory Booker will carry Nevada and Colorado. Both are fairly close, but they show in a little bit of a widening from 2016, which could indicate that they are moving in a more Democratic direction. In Arizona, Donald Trump is carrying that as expected. He has also carried Wisconsin, and I think that puts Donald Trump over the top. In the state of Pennsylvania, Donald Trump will also carry that state. And yeah, as based off of what we can tell, Donald Trump is now up by about 1.5 points, and based off of the remaining vote and exit polling, we're expecting Donald Trump to actually cross the 50% mark in the Keystone State. Donald Trump has flipped the state of New Hampshire from 2016 into his column, and he is also projected to win the popular vote tonight by about a single percent. And nationally, Donald Trump is at 293 electoral votes, and we are sure he's the winner now. Not Sanders, it's Cory Booker. Ah, dang. Our graphics producer almost made me mess that up. Cory Booker is at 215 electoral votes. And, of course, Trump has been declared the winner of the popular vote based off of exit polling and the outstanding vote. And this is what the map currently looks like, with Cory Booker holding a lead in no states that are currently outstanding. He does hold the lead in the 1st Congressional District of Maine. However, we haven't awarded that to him because we're just awarding Maine's electoral vote all at the same time, just to make sure there are no mistakes. And good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday. We don't have any key race alerts. Both Minnesota and Maine are listed as having all precincts reporting. However, both races are still awaiting absentee and provisional ballots. We expect a certification by Friday, or at least a declaration. There's a good chance of recounts, but in no state would a recount change the outcome of the election as a whole. It may only change a state. And good evening, everyone. It's Friday, and oh boy, 2 key race alerts from the presidential election: Minnesota and Maine's at large. In Minnesota, Donald Trump is a projected winner with 47.9% of the vote to Cory Booker's 47.1%. This is a very narrow victory for Donald Trump, and we expect to recount there, though we do not expect it to overturn the result of the election. And state of Maine, Donald Trump takes 3 of its 4 electoral votes, Cory Booker taking the 1st congressional district. This is a very narrow victory. Trump crossing 48%, Cory Booker not quite getting to 48%. And nationally, Donald Trump will carry 322 electoral votes, with Sanders carrying 216. Trump, of course, has won the popular vote by a little bit less than 1%. And, of course, 270 votes were needed. It's Cory Booker, by the way, not Bernie Sanders. Our graphics designer still has a job, apparently. And apparently was a big Sanders fan. Yeah. So here's what the map looks like, and sorry about that graphic. As you can see, Donald Trump has expanded his 2016 map by flipping 3 states, those being New Hampshire, Maine's at large, and Minnesota. He came very close in places like Virginia and Nevada as well. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So I projected out the economic fundamentals, not just the index funds, inflation, consumer confidence, that type of stuff, based off of the first half of Trump's presidency, out to what they would be in November of 2020. And I assumed a relatively static foreign and domestic environment because there was no scenarios that were suggested in the comments of the video where I said I was going to do one of these that had a detailed or even interesting situation domestically or foreign. I selected Booker and Bennett as I don't believe I've done either Cory Booker or Michael Bennett as candidates before on the Democratic side. And I felt they were the most interesting of the ones that I haven't covered that were suggested. I decided not to include a serious third-party bid as it just seemed a bit, as I decided that it would just be not worth it right now because we all know what would happen. I plugged all those numbers into a copy of my forecasting model, or link to the regular model will be in the description. I'm not going to publish what the model says for this. And I did have to adjust a few things, and I've adjusted them appropriately in the regular model. And I came up with hypothetical poll numbers based off of what would happen with an economy that was in accordance with the economic numbers that I had projected out, as well as a static and domestic and foreign political environment, which in theory should benefit Donald Trump. If nothing's happening, people are probably going to see that as a good thing. I decided to ignore the Mueller report just because I don't think that's going to change anyone's opinions whenever it comes out. It's probably going to say, I found circumstantial evidence, but nothing that would hold up in a court of law. Something akin to that. So that's kind of why that came out. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.